Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and typically we feature a beer of the week. I'm Matt. With me, as always, is Lauren, and today we are going to talk about The Last of Us Season 2. We're going to recap it, we're going to spoil it, talk about our thoughts, feelings, all of that good stuff. So if this is your first time watching, listening, wherever it may be, go ahead, like, subscribe, share, follow, go leave a comment on YouTube, drop a review, help the algorithm, all that good stuff. Hops Geek News on any podcasting platform, any social media platform. We typically go into what we've been reading or watching, some news, and then our main topic. And if you want to support the show, patreon.com/HopsGeekNews, where you could get ad-free episodes, early drops, hang out movie nights, all that kind of good stuff. So it is 10 o'clock in the morning as we record this. It's been kind of one of those weird weeks. So I got H2O. Nice H2O, man. Lauren, I know you're half awake and dead over there. What do you have?
I have coffee.
Coffee.
But I have it in my Navarro Mandalorian mug.
I know you're all decked out in Mandalorian today.
So
we're not. That was because it's Pedro Pascal.
So the shirt was actually an accident. I'm still in my pajamas. So I did brush my teeth and everything though. So I just threw a bra on and kept my same t-shirt on. So I just happen to have my Grogu shirt on. That's just what I happen to sleep in.
Interesting.
And then, I have the We Are Here Star Wars mugs hanging on the wall. So I was like, I'm just going to go with the full theme. I think I did this when we discussed episodes 1 and 2 as well.
You might have. I don't know, but it's just too funny. I was like, did you dress for Pedro?
I mean, yeah, I like to be in theme when I can, and this is the closest I had. It was this or Walking Dead stuff. So
That's true. That's true. Well, no beers, nothing we've messed up on or anybody's called us out on. If we mess up on something, by all means, shoot us a line. We love to call ourselves out. But Lauren's got the shorter list this week as far as what we've been reading or watching. So why don't you kick us off?
I was a slacker this week. So my comic review, I only did a video review. It was Hornsby and Haley, and that's from the world of Ghost Machine.
Halo, not Haley.
Hornsby
Sorry.
and Halo. No, I appreciate that. Oh, geez. If you want to make a drinking game out of this, every time I mess up this morning or I sound not all there, take a sip. So I've been talking about this one for a while. It's just basically a social experiment. Not too much happened in this issue, but the overall theme is that a demon child is being raised by good parents, a angel child is being raised by bad parents, but it was in order to create a truce between heaven and hell. However, not everybody wants a truce between heaven and hell, so we're having some other people come into play and try to mess with things. The kids recently found out what they are, and they're not happy about it. They'd rather just be obnoxious middle schoolers and just continue doing, mundane BS stuff that middle schoolers do.
Yeah.
Like, say, skibbity toilet riz.
Oh, my God. Ohio. Ohio sucks, but what did Ohio do to deserve should be used as an insult?
I have no idea. I remember Cleveland Rocks. Isn't that a thing?
Yeah,
but so
I don't know.
This comic's really good and the art's gorgeous, and you're getting more scenes from heaven and hell now, so that's kind of cool to see the art and how they depict that. And
that's dope.
It's a lot of fun, and it's got some funny moments, and it's got some great art.
I haven't read that one since first issue, so that's the one Ghost Machine that I'm pretty behind on, I'll be honest, besides Rockefellers as well.
Oh, Rockefellers is, I think, my favorite.
Still waiting on First Ghost, man. God dang, when the heck is that one coming?
I know, and that's the
one I'm most excited for.
Same. Yeah. I mean, Hyde Street, though, has been phenomenal. Why don't you tell us about Hyde Street, since we're doing Ghost Machine?
Ghost Machine. So Hyde Street issue 6 is out. Jeff Johns, Ivan Reese, Brad Anderson, Danny Miki, Francis Portella, Rob Lay. I have never wanted to beat up a child more than I have wanted to go in and kick the shit out of that kid Pranky, who is one of the soul snatchers on Hyde Street. He's this little Boy Scout who's the biggest a-hole on planet Earth, and I've never wanted to beat a child more than this. My God, dude. It's just a testament to Jeff Johns and the way he's writing him. He's just the worst. Think of the worst kid you know who has no parental supervision and is just an agent of chaos, and turn it up to about 10. And that's what this kid is. So Mr. X-Ray in this one, actually, I mean, Pranky's torturing Mrs. Goodbody, who you might know from that one shot. She's now involved in Hyde Street. And, Mr. X-Ray...
backstory on hers too before, right?
Yes,
yes. We had that one shot, and then we
got more, yeah.
Yeah.
Issue 5, I think it was, or one of the issues that we got more Backstreet. You're right. Backstreet's back, all right? Backstory.
Backstreet's back.
But the art is great, and Mr. X-Ray in this one's trying to basically put together a team to get rid of Pranky. And so Mrs. Goodbody can't leave her store for some reason. You don't really know why, so there's some mystery there. And then there is a group of tourists who cause a bus accident because they are in such a rush and not being safe to get to their Hollywood excursion that they're on, their studio excursion, that some things happen. And so Mr. X-Ray kind of uses them and then the mob mentality and stuff. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I think you should read it, but it's a very good play on how humans and selfish people actually are in real life. And then again, the artwork is just incredibly well done by Francis and Brad. So that's issue 6 is out. It's been a great run, honestly, one of the best horror comics that I've read in recent years, as far as just the world building, storytelling, the way that they've managed to capture these demonic essences. And then again, Frankie needs to just die again.
Can die again.
Yes.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I mean, going into some more comic books before we get into the watching aspect, I read Mr. Terrific Year One from Al Letson, Valentine Delandro, Marissa Louise, Edwin Gallman, and Lucas Gattoni. That's DC Comics. This is the first issue in their new DC All In. And basically, Michael he lost his wife and unborn child. So he is Mr. Terrific's one of the smartest, most genius men in the DC universe. He's struggling with this loss. He's sold his company to somebody who he thought would do good in the world, but turns out maybe not so much. And it's a really good setup for the story. The guy can't catch a break. That was a really good introduction. I'm not too familiar with Mr. Terrific, so getting into that, highly recommend. I read Absolute Wonder Woman issue 8 DC Comics from Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman, Jordi Belair, and Becca Carey. Now, this is starting off the new story of Wonder Woman. They introduced Dr. Poison in this. And it's Dr. Poison like we haven't really seen. Dr. Poison's in like gas form when not held together by this really ancient looking suit, which I thought was cool. Barbara Minerva gets introduced. And so there's a lot of cool things happening in this next new arc that I'm really excited for. And then moving on to Marvel, I did Predator versus Spider-Man issue 2 from Ben Percy, Marcelo Ferreira, Jay Leiston, Frank Darmada, and Clayton Cowles. This is a really gnarly comic, man. It's very graphic as far as there's this Predator named Skinner. He doesn't play by the normal Predator rules. So Craven has found where he's skinned the bodies and hung them, and he's on the hunt, but he recognizes Spider-Man's been there. So now he's trying to get to this Predator before Spider-Man does, and is kind of setting up a three-way battle. However, at the end, the Predators show up because this particular Predator is not playing by their rules, and they don't like that. They have rules, they have hierarchy, they have all this kind of stuff when they're going on this hunt. And so now they show up, which is going to set up this four-way battle essentially. So we're building some pretty solid stuff there. And what Ben really does well is he gives us more backstory into the Predators and the way of their life and things like that, which the guy just gets it, man. Like, oh my God. He's probably one of my favorite Marvel writers just for the things that he's doing.
Look at that. I love it.
I know.
He's
he's still scary, but he's so good. Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell, issue 2.
I didn't read Marvel. That either. It's been a week, man. It's been a week.
Ugh. Charles Soule, Steve McNiven, Dean White, Clayton Cowles. Now, I thought this was like a 5-issue, but it's only going to be 3 issues. So I'm kind of sad.
That's it? Oh,
I think it's only 3 issues. Yeah, and I'm pretty sad because this is very much Dark Knight Returns vibes with Matt Murdock.
I can see that.
We get a surprise appearance from Foggy and somebody else that I won't go on and, spoil. Right. But Bullseye, who I didn't think they explicitly said that's who it was at the end of issue 1, and I didn't know it until issue 2, but Bullseye was the guy who had Frank hung up on the wall, and they're chasing after the spoil.
I was wondering who that was. Okay. I was like, I supposed to know who that was? I didn't feel like they gave any telltale signs.
Well, that's what I thought too. And then they made it just in the second issue. Oh yeah, it's Bullseye. You should have known that. And in my head, I was that guy.
I want to go back and reread 1.
Same. Did I miss something here? But yeah, it's Bullseye. And they're trying to kidnap that girl because she has like this radiation powers. They're trying to do something in this world, and the coloring with the background of, this post-apocalyptic New York City and the way Matt's suit is stitched together, but his powers are going in and out. So he's on limited time because his powers are only supercharged due to what happened in issue 1, but they are fading. And so good. So like I said, Dark Knight Returns vibes the whole way there. I did forget that my last one was a Peacemaker presents Vigilante Eagley double feature.
You were on fire this week.
DC Comics again, sorry. Issue 3 of 5, Mitch Gerrits, Tim Seeley, Rex Ogle, Matteo Lolli, John Calise, Pat Brossow, and James Gunn. So
you said Mitch's last name right.
I did. In my head, I was like, look at that. I did it. It's because I practice in front of a mirror every morning to start. That how
You
now,
can
brown
say
cow,
it.
unique New York. I say Mitch Gerrits, Mitch
There you
Gerrits. But this is so good, man. I mean, the way that Mitch and Tim they collab on the vigilante portions, and it's just capturing that spirit, and it ties into the show apparently, which I thought so, but I wasn't 100% sure. But somebody confirmed that it does. And then with Peacemaker, he's on this island, and the League of Shadows is hunting these people for sport. And it's just funny the things that Peacemaker's out there, we should get naked and fight. And people are like, what? And then there's this one guy that's just other Chris. He says, I'm in. And he's like, Jesus, dude, you shouldn't be too eager. And it's just really funny because I hear John Cena's voice, and
Right.
it's another gruesome graphic comic book. But
I'm gonna have to grab that one. I believe he mentioned that when we talked to him at MegaCon, that it was
he
going to
did.
be like connected and everything.
I think he did. And I forgot. And if you read my on nerdinitiative.com, I put that interview in there. So if you want to check out the interview again, it's on our, social media there. Go on YouTube. And then rolling into the two things that I've watched, I did watch Death of a Unicorn with Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega last night. And
definitely don't spoil that. Yes.
I won't spoil it.
Want to see that.
It's on Apple if you want to rent it, $10. That's why, we're kind of, why not? $10 isn't bad. That's, cheaper than going to the movies, all that kind of stuff. And it's worth a watch, man. It's pretty good. It wasn't as good as I was hoping. However, I still really enjoyed it. And if you watch the movie, I got Jurassic Park Lost World vibes. I'll say that. Which if you watch the movie, you can kind of see why, but I thought it was pretty funny. Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd play off each other pretty well. They had some really good chemistry. Some of the deaths are pretty brutal, graphic, and I thought the unicorn design was really cool as well. So watch that. And then I discovered a show which I guess has been canceled, and they're going to be reworking the finale to give it closure on Apple, but Mythic Quest. I discovered that show, and we just were looking for something to watch on TV, and kind of because we finished, How I Met Your Mother. So we wanted something mindless just to look at. And we put on Mythic Quest, and now we're sucked in. It's basically, God dang, I forgot his name all of a sudden, but he's from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And it's
Danny
also
DeVito?
written. No, not Danny DeVito. The
Charlie.
He's married. Charlie Day has helped write it, but he's married to Caitlin Olsen.
The other guy that owns the soccer team with Ryan Reynolds.
I don't know why I've all of a sudden blanked on his name. However, he goes by Ian in the game or in the show, and he owns this company. They made an RPG game, Mythic Quest, and it's just a very raunchy, ridiculous, funny show about them owning this game and all this other stuff.
And that's role-playing game? Is that what RPG is?
Yeah. Basically, but it's very good. Like, you don't have to be into that kind of stuff to enjoy the comedy and everything, because it's not really about the actual game. While it is, they own this company, and that's like the plot is centered around them owning this company and just all sorts of hijinks. Actually,
so it's like The League.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and the guy who played, the hunter in Jumanji, the original one, he's in this, and he's the most ridiculously hilarious character. He's one of the writers from the game. Hilarious.
He's also the dad in Jumanji.
Yes,
which blew my mind when I learned that.
I never really noticed that either for the longest time, but he is in it as well, and he is hilarious. The cast has so much good chemistry, and so when I found out, it got canceled after 4 seasons, but somebody said, no, they're reworking the finale so there is closure, and I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. Which is really nice. It doesn't continue on, but it also isn't just going to leave it like, Santa Clarita Diet. So I recommend people check that one out on Apple if you have not already. And that is my long-winded what I've been into. I know you got a couple things as far as to wrap up, so why don't you wrap us up here?
So I finished a Star Wars novel this week, The Mask of Fear, and it's actually the first part of a 3-part trilogy called Reign of the Empire. This just came out, so there's only one of the trilogy out so far. It's by Alexander Freed. And what it is it takes place immediately after Episode 3, and it's basically Saw, Mon Mothma, and Bail Organa, and kind of how they end up creating the Rebel Alliance. But their stories interweave, but they're all very standalone. And Bail, this whole book, he's just trying to clear the names of the Jedi. That there was this video that came out that showed that they were terrible, and he's trying to prove that it was false. And he's hoping he can discredit the Emperor that way. Cool. Well, and it also makes sense because he has a baby who might be Force sensitive one day. And so in his head, he's doing these things for her. If he can clear the name of the Jedi, if she comes out Force sensitive, then she's safe. So I think he's always got that on his,
Yeah.
brain. And Mon Mothma, like, she's trying to be classy Mon, but she's getting kind of pulled around a lot and being forced to do things she doesn't want to do. And she gets her hands real dirty at a certain point. And Saw's just being Saw. He's really not in it too
Do
much.
just chaos.
But he is relevant, and I'm hoping that these books lead directly, like by the third one, I'm hoping it leads directly into Andor, and I'm sure, I don't know when
Oh
the second and
yeah.
third one are coming out, but it's really it's very, very political. It's very like trying to get votes and trying to do this and trying to pass this and trying to do it correctly, and then at the end you can see the Rebel Alliance coming together. It's interesting with these books because you know where it's leading. It's just fun learning how they get there. So if you really like the whole political aspect of Star Wars, I highly recommend it. Again, The Mask of Fear, Reign of the Empire by Alexander Freed. And Dead City, another episode dropped. I really liked the one that dropped last night. It
I saw a clip from the show, and it was what's his name? They were doing zombie fights, but they can't
yeah.
touch. And so Negan jumped into it, but Maggie was doing like some sneaking around or something. And the guy who was running the fights, damn it, I can't remember because he looked really familiar to me. But that's the clip I saw, and I was just like, interesting.
Yeah,
And
that was
it still didn't give me a
the
entice to
last
shoot.
week.
Oh, okay.
Well, what it is they bet on the fights, and so they put two walkers in fight gear. They leave their heads vulnerable, and they pour guts all over their heads, so they're trying to eat each other, thinking they're human. And then they have like a legit. So you bet on the walker, and like things have gone on in New York City with different groups where they've bet on these things for tools and supplies and whatnot.
Oh,
and of course, you find out there's more going on there, and Negan finds out there's more going on there. But you're really getting full on Negan, and so I've really enjoyed each episode standalone. But overall, not much has happened. So I'm really hoping towards the end we get like a payoff. We have 3 episodes left, so stay tuned. And my full reviews of the book and Dead City are both on nerdinitiative.com.
All right, nice. So there was a show that wrapped up this week. Did you finish the series?
Yeah, Handmaid's Tale is done.
How do you feel?
I didn't love the ending. I liked the ending, but I felt like there were some things that didn't really make sense, and they were just trying to easily tie it up.
I saw some things on TikTok where a plane blows up, and then one girl comes home with her husband, and he has like the surrogate there, but she wants to have her own baby and things like that. So I don't know. Did it satisfyingly wrap up for you, and even though there was some weird stuff, or you're like,
for the most part, yeah, but some of the things that they tied up that should be satisfying felt cheated.
Fair.
It felt like that didn't make sense. Like, well, how did that happen? But I've never read the book, and I don't know. I believe there's more than one book. So I don't know if they're going to do a spinoff or whatever, because you see those things now and you're like, okay, is this AI? Did somebody make this up? Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Is this real? I'll believe it when Hulu shares it. So
that's unfortunate too. There's so many like AI videos out there now. And then I even saw there's some South Korean company that made this robot that's like in liquid form that can adapt and things. And honestly, guys, we saw a documentary film about this that didn't turn out too well. It was called Terminator 2, to show why that's a very terrible idea. I'm just saying, like, but you're right. AI is kind of becoming kind of scary and a problem because you've seen videos, and I've seen videos that look really real, and there's AI voice, slightly off about the mouth, but now it's really kind of a scary landscape, going forward in real life of, okay, we're getting really good, but that's my soapbox. Anyways, we'll be back.
I agree.
In just a second. We got a quick ad break, and then we're going to come and dive into some news.
Bunnytail Designs Co. is out of this galaxy, with bags for any and every occasion you just may need. Maximum effort was put into every bag, and there's koozies too. Whether you're raising muggles or wizards, these are the bags for you. Or hunting demons, or running from demigorgons, or traveling the galaxy. So get a bag and peep that fit. Great for kids too. Cheers.
All right, man. Some news. Let's do it. Captain America: Brave New World is now streaming on Disney Plus. It debuted as the #1 streamed film on Disney Plus at that. And honestly, guys, this movie is perfectly fine. A lot of people didn't see it in theaters. I rewatched it. I watched it actually with the kids the day it dropped on Disney Plus again. And the whole scene where they're fighting around the Celestial and
it's so good.
It's really good. And then there's something I noticed too, was the way that Cap fights. I really like how he uses his wings, how the vibranium and the energy off of that. this movie, it's not perfect. We could have done without the little 5 foot tall gnome running around with them, but
Aw, that
I
wasn't
don't
very
like her
nice.
character at all. Okay.
I'm
But
not sure what they were. I mean, I think
well,
we were
she was supposed to be
supposed to like
Sabra,
her.
who's the
No,
Israeli, and
I know the
obviously for
backstory of
reasons.
it,
Yeah, sorry.
but I don't know. Like we were supposed to like her. Like she was nice, but she wasn't lovable.
She was just no, something, I didn't like her.
And she was funny with Bucky. She's like, he's taller and more handsome in real life, and he's
Yeah,
like, he's 110. She's like, I can work with that.
but the movie's good, man. The CGI gets a little weird, obviously, at the end fight, but
Yeah.
I mean, the movie's perfectly fine. If this came out before Endgame, again, Endgame kind of ruined a lot of people's expectations. This movie is perfectly good. It would have been a great entry, and so I think you all should go and go watch it. What's the next piece of news we got?
So Marvel and DC are teaming up for a comic book featuring Batman and Deadpool. It will be 2 different one-shot comics.
Yes, Zeb Wells, Grant Morrison, Greg Capullo, all working on these. How do you feel?
I don't really feel anything. I mean, I'm sure I'll read it, but it seems like 2 very odd characters to team up or
I
go
don't
against each
like
other. But
Batman and Deadpool together at all. I will
I
be
don't really,
100% honest. I
honestly,
know. Ugh.
I don't feel the need for a Marvel DC crossover at all.
Okay,
These are
time out. Whoa.
2 different
Okay, crossing the
universes.
line. So back
I
in the
don't.
90s, we used to have Batman and Spawn, all these crossovers, and the crossovers are honestly great. I love the crossovers. All right. I think actually we could do some more crossovers. I don't like that Batman and Deadpool are together because I know Deadpool's a spin off of Deathstroke, but
His original was. He's not anymore, I
right.
feel like.
Well, what I'm saying is like I just don't see them meshing well, despite being they're good characters, and I also don't really like Deadpool a whole lot either. So, but it's
How dare
Deadpool's
you.
a character that obviously sells well and is popular, so I get it.
But it depends.
But
I've read Deadpool ones where I was like, okay, this is like he's trying too hard or the jokes are too obvious. But then
yeah,
like, okay, the Ben Percy Deadpool Wolverine, go check that one out. That I did not read it this week. I haven't had time. But
ooh, I'm telling Ben, and he's gonna
and,
flex
oh,
the
I
big
thought you were
hairy
gonna say
muscles
Ken. I'm
on
like,
you.
Ken knows I said I might not have time.
Ooh,
But that one's been really good, and it's been a really good representation of Deadpool and Wolverine together. And
well,
when
fair.
Percy's Wolverine one, the 50 issue run, he had a couple that Deadpool was in, and it was the same thing. He writes a really good Deadpool with a really good Wolverine. And so
Right.
that run so far has been great. I think it's 4 issues in, maybe 5 now.
I've heard. Yeah, I don't know. Well, who knows? I'm gonna read it, and then there's
I've
more
been
crossovers
reading
coming out, so who knows? Maybe
too many
it'll change my
books.
mind.
My comic stack is getting really high. I need to put in some more.
Yeah, dude. Well, hey, look, now this is your official indoctrination into being a comic book nerd. Your reading list grows and it never dwindles, and it just continuously stays
Well, I
massive.
usually go big and then I'll shrink it one day, and then I'll go big and I'll shrink it one day. But I don't know.
To
Now
be
I
fair, it's
started
been
the
a busy
Nerd
week.
Initiative book club. Yeah, it's been
It has been a
Memorial
busy week.
Day
Your kids
and
are done with school, and you've had other things
so
going
yeah,
on.
so that's
So
the end of the school year.
listen,
There
it's
was
all good. It's okay. But there's a trailer coming today when we're recording this. Are you excited about Gen V coming back?
I am.
There is a trailer.
It
I
just
haven't
says
watched
coming
Gen V
soon.
stuff.
We don't have an exact
Yeah.
date yet, but I'm hoping we get another
Well, I imagine whenever the trailer
Soldier
comes
Boy
out, they'll tell
cameo.
us. But
Still haven't
yeah,
gotten a Soldier Boy pillow. They were actually selling them at the Supernatural Con, but they looked
that's something I
not
feel like Tabby would be able to make. Okay, why has Tabby not made you a
probably
Soldier Boy pillow yet?
because it's not something you make a family member.
Here, Lauren, I got you this. Oh, jeez.
So yeah, and Peacemaker. So we have some info on Peacemaker. It will take place 2 years after season 1, and it will tie into the new Superman, and it will continue to lead into the James Gunn DC universe. What they haven't come out and said though is exactly what's canon from season 1, because I remember hearing some will be canon
Yeah,
and some will not.
they
Who knows?
haven't. I agree with that. I'm interested to see. So we've seen behind the scenes pictures, and there's a theory going around that our Peacemaker that we know in that crew is coming from that universe into this new universe because it looks as
Ooh,
though in one of the shots, Peacemaker's behind Peacemaker. So I'm wondering if he kills the new DCEU Peacemaker and takes his place, and they kind of come into the universe because it looks like they're in this weird multiverse travel thing. And so I'm wondering if
interesting.
that's what happens. But again, that's a theory going around based off of screenshots from the trailer.
So I
But
guess we'll just have to wait till it comes out.
yeah, I would like that. Okay, that would be a really good way to do it if they do bring through. And DC's always done a really good job with multiversal stuff. So who
Guess we'll have
knows?
to wait and see. So,
Yeah.
Avengers Doomsday has been delayed to December 18th, 2026. So, it will now come out the same day as Dune Messiah.
Doomsday. I don't know if
Doomsday.
I have it in me to sit through 2 3-hour movies.
No way in hell am I doing that. I will
I'm
be
going to see
seeing
Avengers, clearly.
Avengers,
Yes.
and then I will wait to see Dune Messiah.
Interesting. I don't hate that they're coming out the same day. I just don't
I
know
don't
if
care
I'm
for
going to
it.
watch them back to back. I'm a sicko, so I probably will. Who knows? However, I'm cool with them delaying it a little bit because there's 70,000 characters involved.
Yeah,
And
I'm fine.
so
I just wish it wasn't coming out right before Christmas. And now Secret
oh,
Wars has been
yeah,
pushed to
yeah.
December 17th. And like I know Spider-Man came out at Christmas, but like they ended at Christmas time, so I feel like
Yeah.
that made it okay in my
I
head.
agree. December's a tough month. It really is because there's so much going on, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. It's just a busy month in
Yeah.
general for people.
This is probably going to be like the last day the kids are in school. There's probably going to be shit going on, like some end of the
Yeah.
year party or concert or something. And I'm going to be like, okay, guys, we got to go to the movie theater now.
Screw them kids. You know what? They're going to be older. I'll
What,
leave kids at home.
2026? Oh, Brielle will be in high school.
Oh, God. Yeah. 2026.
That's weird.
Oliver's going to be in 5th grade, so he can stay home by himself. But he'll probably go with me. Where you going? I'm going to see the movie. You watch your sister, punk.
She'll
Anyways,
come home to a nice, clean house.
if you are in Chicago, the Chicago Music of, oh my gosh. Chicago
Music of Science.
Science and Industry. I think
That
it's
might have been on
museum.
me. I think it's museum too.
I'm pretty sure it's museum. Lauren, we were just gonna
Chicago
speak
Museum
over
of
there.
Science and Industry is getting a Spider-Man exhibit. So if you're in Chicago, Google that.
Spider-Man. Yes.
Spider-Man.
And now,
Spider-Man.
what is this interesting fun fact you learned during a Dead City interview?
So Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Lauren Cohan are Maggie and Negan, but we first ever met them together as Martha and Thomas Wayne in the Ben Affleck was in Batman and Superman.
Martha. Yes, Batman v Superman.
So they're both in
Dawn of
Supernatural,
Justice.
but they never share a screen in Supernatural. So apparently Snyder had wanted to do a whole Flashpoint thing with Jeffrey Dean Morgan and have him play Thomas Wayne. And that would have been really cool because then you would have had John Winchester and Dean Winchester both be Bruce Wayne and Thomas Wayne and again be father and son.
No, but like legit, I think a Flashpoint movie would have been awesome, but I'm glad Snyder didn't touch it for obvious reasons. And also I'm glad that I'm as a Flash fan, I'm very sad that we're now going to have to wait even longer for another Flash movie to come out because
It was such
just
a
one
waste.
Flash,
That one movie
man.
was such a
God,
waste.
it
Like
really was.
Michael Keaton was great. I mean,
The return of Michael Keaton and it was wasted, but
yeah.
man, I'm sad. Anyways, Shark Week. Shark Week is coming on Discovery and HBO Max, or if that's what we're calling it now. Did we ever stop calling it that? It's going to start on Sunday, July 20th. And yeah, you know, Shark Week's a big thing here. We love the sharks. Save the sharks. save
We
the
have to do
animals.
Jaws 4 this year. We're going to Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, we are. Yes, we are.
I forgot to. I have to add that to the calendar. I forgot to put that into our Excel sheet.
Jaws 4. Lord help us. It's the 50th anniversary of the original Jaws. So if you're up in Martha's Vineyard, Cape Cod area, they're doing a lot of cool stuff. I would love to get up there. I just don't think I'll have time. But
Yeah, that would
now,
be cool.
starting July 9th, AMC is going to be doing $5 movie tickets. So check the local theaters. There are often summer movie deals everywhere. I was kind of talking about this because everybody is, which one are you more excited for? Superman or Fantastic Four? Which one are you going to see if you can only choose one? And I hate this.
I would pick
I hate this.
Superman. I don't know what's wrong with
First of
me.
all, they come out at 2 different times. Number one.
I know they're like 2 weeks.
I would
apart.
also Superman, but
But
listen,
that's
guys,
expected of you. I should
us
be ashamed.
nerds. I'm loving it. I'm going to live for that moment, by the way. But us nerds, these movies, they do well. We do well. And, you know, it doesn't have to be an either or. It's not one versus the other. Go enjoy both of them, man. Because if they're both doing well, they're competitive against each other. That means they're going to make better content. That means
You never
we're
know.
living.
2 years
and,
from now, Fantastic Four versus Superman.
Hey, we could only hope. Family. But anyways, yeah. So I know the movies are expensive, but Regal Unlimited, AMC Movie Pass, there's Tuesday ticket deals with some theaters that do cheap movies on Tuesdays during the summer, $5 movie
They
tickets.
do old movies too. For
Use your
like a couple
points.
bucks.
Yeah, you know, take advantage of all those things because get to the movies if you can. highly recommend it. And it's a way to beat the heat in the summertime because it's getting hot out there.
Beat the heat. Oh, don't beat the heat. Oh my God, I can't believe.
Well, the heat are even out. Haha.
I know they've been out for a while.
What happened? What's going on with Yellow Jackets? I haven't watched the show. I couldn't get into it.
I haven't watched 3 because I didn't love 2, but it's been renewed for season 4. So, and I heard season 3's been doing good.
Tracy's been all about it. She says it's really good.
Yeah, that I've been told by a few people that said season 3 is really good. I just I'll maybe when I get Showtime for Dexter, maybe I'll watch it then.
True.
So Carl Urban is coming back in the Dredd series on Amazon.
I'm excited. Yeah, Dredd is a good movie. It's really good.
I've never seen
you gotta watch that movie. It's really good.
All right, maybe before it comes back, we'll do.
We should. Well, obviously, the original Judge Dredd is fun,
Sylvester
but
Stallone.
legit, the Carl Urban Dredd, people have been fighting for a sequel forever. It came out in like 2011 or something. It's insane.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So Josh actually asked me one day. He mentioned the movie with Sylvester Stallone, and I'm like, I've never seen it. He's like, it's a comic book movie. You haven't seen it? I'm like, no, I just haven't seen it.
It's actually kind of crazy that you haven't seen it because that one is a classic in its own right. It's a good movie, but the second Dredd, it has what's her name, Cersei from Game of Thrones. I forgot her. Lana Headey. Yeah, she's awesome in it. The Judge Dredd, Carl Urban is
only seen her in Game of Thrones.
She's in it's such I can gush about that movie. It's legitimately good.
Nice.
But wrapping us up here, Zootopia 2 is coming to theaters November 26th. I like the first movie, so I'll go see it. It's Thanksgiving weekend, so we'll see what's going on.
We're redoing Animal Kingdom as Zootopia.
I'm excited for that. We're going to that place in December, so I'll be pumped. Yeah.
We're going to that place in December. Well,
the kids don't know, so I don't want to yell it.
Oh, okay. Got you. That makes more sense.
I don't want to yell
it. I was like, that place called Animal Kingdom? Gotcha.
Yeah, no, they've never been to that one specifically, but they don't know we're going in December and obviously staying with you. But
it's Logan's favorite park. I think we're going on Monday.
I've only been once, actually, to that park, funny enough.
It's a very pretty park.
Well, anyways, another ad break. We'll be back with The Last of Us discussion. We'll see you in a moment.
I'm Tim Sheridan, and you're watching Hops Geek News.
All right, nerds, what's up? We're back. The Last of Us Season 2. It's finished. It's over. Lauren Deep Sighs. I know she has some thoughts, so why don't we start it off with our spoiler-free thoughts of Season 2 as a whole? I know we've covered the first couple episodes, but we just kind of had a lot of things going on, so we didn't dive into it. So let's go with your spoiler-free thoughts to kick us off.
My spoiler-free thoughts were Season 1 was almost perfect. Season 2 has been much, much less than perfect. I don't know if I would have felt differently knowing what was going to happen, but I feel like things were dragged out that shouldn't have been dragged out. Points were made that didn't make sense. Rationality is not coming into play in this season. Some of the deaths I feel have been more for shock value than for storyline. And I feel like it felt all over the place and choppy. And I think that they did that for a specific reason to try to keep a lot of the audience that they were losing. And they knew that was going to happen. And I did not love this. I enjoyed every episode. I enjoyed watching it. Will I continue to watch? Absolutely. But I'm not going to be as eager as I was to watch Season 3 as I was to watch Season 2. That sounds like I just shit all over it.
Well, okay. So overall, I'm mixed. I'm a mixed bag. There was a lot of good moments that I think outweighed the bad moments for me in this season. And it's been, first of all, all the actors and actresses I actually love. I thought they did extraordinarily well.
I think they all acted their asses off, yeah.
Right. I thought they did a great job with what they were given. I thought that, this season, they really did a very good job with that. So I don't agree with everybody who's on Reddit, for example, bashing, Bella Ramsey, for example. They don't deserve the hate that they're getting their way. I don't agree with these fans that are just rabid. And I'm also not one of those people that's, oh my God, they didn't stick 100% to the source material. But...
No, I think it's better when you don't.
Well, having said that, though, some of the things that they have changed from the game didn't make a lot of sense because a lot of the things that they changed were actually the key driving points towards the plot line and how things develop forward. For example, let's start with the big elephant in the room.
There's spoiling now.
Spoilers going forward. Joel is killed in episode 2. In the game, the game starts off just like that. The game is Abby shows up. You don't know who Abby is, so they kind of changed it to set you up for something, because in the beginning of the season, oh, he killed my dad, blah blah blah. In the game, you don't
My
know
name
who
is
she
Inigo
is,
Montoya.
and then she brutally kills him with a golf club. Now, we got a lot of those scenes, and I like the way, Bella again acted their ass off when Joel, they were held down, excuse me, and Joel was, get up, and he tried to, and then they stabbed him in the neck. All that, great. That was great, great, great. I really enjoyed how they did that there. The one problem I have is Tommy instead of Dina is the one that is actually there, and that plays a really big role in the game, because Tommy then is the one that convinces Ellie to get revenge, because we always heard that Tommy and Joel were not good people. They were very not good people. Tommy is, they did a lot of bad things. And then Tommy came to Jackson Hole and has become this family guy. Joel became a family guy.
They play into that a little bit. He says, like, that's how he ended up there, because they had done so many bad things.
Exactly. Now, Tommy in the game reverts back to his old self, though, through the anger, the rage, the guilt. And he's the one that convinces Ellie to go to Seattle and get revenge. And they didn't do that. And I don't agree with how they wrote Ellie and Tommy, especially to kind of be indifferent. They were after the big moment.
Let's make this a democratic vote.
Right. And funny enough, do you know the one guy who gives Ellie the gun before her and Dina leave was the original RoboCop?
Was he?
He was. He played RoboCop.
That's not the guy from
the guy who
Peacemaker.
No, that the guy who was making, very against Ellie and Dina kissing in the dance scene.
But I can picture
that
RoboCop.
Is
that
guy's
more
RoboCop.
Than one RoboCop?
He played. Let's see, but yeah, he was RoboCop. Funny enough,
oh wow,
Robert John Burke played Seth. Yeah, he was RoboCop.
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody
Fun fact:
else.
he was also a character in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. But yeah, going back through his IMDb, all the way back, God, he's in a lot of like random TV shows and things like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking of the bad guy from Terminator.
He's in RoboCop 3 and RoboCop versus Terminator.
Oh,
actually, yeah, he's in RoboCop 3. Funny enough.
Is he in RoboCop 1?
No, it's just RoboCop 3.
Okay.
That's why they changed. Yeah, they changed. Okay,
because I'm like, I can picture RoboCop, and that doesn't look like him. Okay, so he replaced it.
They changed the actor, but his whole setup, there's like no real payoff or anything there. Why am I so dark? But it was kind of weird how they did that.
You were born into the darkness.
I don't know why my camera's being dark right now. Sorry if anybody's on YouTube.
I know, I'm so bright and you're so dark.
I don't understand why my camera's doing that. Anyways, it's weird. And so my issues then, and then a lot of the beats happen in Seattle. They rushed Seattle pretty fast, in my opinion. They're only there for a few days. Jesse's death is how that happens in the game too. It's very sudden and things. Yeah. Jesse dies.
It's like I'm going to be a dad. My life is important now. Boom. Instant. Done.
Right. But I don't so the whole plot now of the game in season 2 is Ellie's rage. They didn't really write Ellie to have that rage. Ellie's soft, kind of. And I don't I hate, it feels like a baseless complaint, except for the fact that it's it's the thing that drives the plot is Ellie becomes so engrossed in guilt, PTSD, rage, revenge, that it actually destroys everything around her. And that is her entire reason for existence in the game, is to get revenge against Abby. And so they don't really do a good job of showing that, especially now. Ellie didn't know that that girl was pregnant when she killed her. That happens like that in the game. But then to be like, I didn't mean to kill them. No, Ellie did. Ellie went to go kill this entire group and get revenge. Ellie was out for blood and death. And then the end of the season where Ellie's like, no. I feel like they could have cut that as well. I didn't agree with that. And then just Ellie, because Bella Ramsey, again, knows how to act. They are a very good actor. And so to kind of take away that ability to show that anger and rage and things, I feel does a disservice. And then again, it's just a major plot point, because right. Ellie and Dina end up living together outside of Jackson, and Ellie again is going to end up leaving to go and get revenge, and it destroys her relationship with Dean and the baby, for example. And so Tommy being like, all right, you killed these two, let's just go home. No, that's not Tommy. Tommy's, again, he wants to kill for revenge as well. He goes back to that badass himself. So to get jumped by Abby like that was kind of weird. Now, in Seattle, he does get a brain injury. So I wonder if they're playing into that. And then another thing I didn't enjoy was, again, this sounds like we're just all, I like to get the negative stuff out of the way before we talk about the positives. I didn't enjoy how, I don't know that you're going to keep your audience around for season 3 that's solely focused on Abby, because after you kill Joel, or Joel dies in the game,
and Jesse,
they make us play as Abby for a bit. And so what they should have done is tie in Abby and Ellie's story in the show. Instead of this was Ellie and now the next season is going to be largely focused on Abby and not have your main characters, I feel like you're going to lose a big part of the audience. And you kind of saw it down 55% in the finale, for example. So I feel like if you really wanted to tell Abby's story, you just intertwine them throughout episodes. Like one episode's Abby, then we get back another episode's Abby, kind of do that, because now I feel like you're alienating and you're going to lose a lot of fan base in season 3. But I think Caitlin Devers is an amazing actress as well as Abby. I love that casting. But again, I know this kind of sounds like negative, but there are positives this season.
Right.
There are some positives.
Well, the whole rage thing would make more sense too. I didn't play the game, so I have no connection to that. But the decisions that they're making, that Ellie and Dean are making, are not rational decisions. They're not smart, especially now that they know she's pregnant and they have more to live for. So the rage blinds rationality. So that would be the way to fix it. That would make it make sense.
Right. It would. And they didn't do a good job of explaining any of that, because they didn't show that. And I feel maybe it would be a stupid complaint. Oh, they changed it. But again, it's the reason why the plot is driving forward. So the things that they change shows that you change the fundamentals of the game that are the whole reason why the game exists. Right. Because it is focused on Abby. I
hated that ending too. Oh, and we actually all watched it. I watched it with Erica and Ski and Josh and Tracy, and we all watched it together with Brielle and everything. And it ended like that, and we're like, great. So I guess we'll just pick this up in 2 years.
That's my other issue.
But I like when a season ends with some finality and a little bit of a cliffhanger. Because we know, especially nowadays, when we're not waiting from May to September to pick up, we're waiting 2 freaking years.
And you're forgetting kind of what happened, and then
you're forgetting everything. Yeah,
that momentum that you built up kind of dwindles, I feel like.
And I think also with this season not being as good, less people are going to want to rewatch it. I happily went through season 1 again. I was gonna try to just speed through and just take notes for our episode, and I found myself getting sucked in.
Season 1
was
gripping.
It
was very good.
But it's a great rewatch. The Boys. I rewatch The Boys before it comes out every time. I mean, even the scenes that Jensen Ackles' ass are not in, I rewatch those too. But it's just I'm not eager to rewatch this in 2 years, where when a show is really good, it's you're almost excited to kind of forget some of it so you can have those moments again and be like, oh my God, I forgot how good that show was. And so all of us were just kind of and there's not going to be it's not going to be a satisfying moment when we come back because it's been so long.
Right. And that's a problem with TV that I was kind of talking about in general is, and I know we've had writer strikes recently, we've had COVID, but I only feel like that's not as much of an excuse anymore, because it shouldn't take you 2 years to film these 7 episodes, especially now that Pedro's kind of out of the,
right, you don't have to work around
Pedro's out of the picture,
schedule.
right? You don't have to work around his schedule as much.
No. He's going to be in more flashbacks just so people come back to see Pedro Pascal. It's going to be in his Fantastic Four costume. I'm just here real quick. Just for a quick cameo.
There's no reason you couldn't have already been filming or started filming this next, because I don't
know how any of that works.
This was a prior day.
BS.
But we had 6 seasons of Game of Thrones 1 year after the other, for example. And I know there's different pre-pandemic, pre-writer strike. I get that. However, it was a far harder show to make than The Last of Us, for example. Now, you're going to make us wait 2 years for 7 episodes that ends, I'm fine with cliffhangers, but it ends in almost this unsatisfactory way where now you want to come back sooner, because if you're waiting 2 years, I feel like a lot of these, look at Stranger Things, for example. Stranger Things started in 2015.
What's Stranger Things? I haven't heard of it.
That girl just graduated high school, and she...
the kid's little sister.
Yes.
I can't remember her name. She's
we're
super
only
funny.
about to get a 5th season. And these guys aren't exactly, Finn Wolfhard was in a bunch of stuff, but like, what the hell is the holdup? Peter Jackson filmed Lord of the Rings back to back to back all together. Okay. For example, I know that's a long time ago, but I feel like TV shows in general now have gotten kind of lazy. Like Amazon takes years in between,
Yeah.
HBO's taking years in between. And I feel like that's killing a lot of hype into these TV shows. And then you're seeing things get canceled because people are tired of waiting multiple years in between.
Well, I think the one thing like The Boys does really good, and maybe I'm biased because I just really love that show and I really love the comic, was their social media game is on point and their social media is
They're very good at
always
staying relevant. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like they're never too far out of your brain. And now with doing Gen V, it's like I
It's
didn't
still
think
there.
Gen
Yeah.
V was as good as The Boys, but there's still a lot. And the way season 4 ended, we saw some of the Gen V characters. So I feel like this Gen V season should, I would think, have more of the Boys characters because I feel like
I
they're
think so.
making
Yeah.
it intertwine more. So
Well, and not even that, but they've already established The Last of Us is only going to be 4 seasons. So you're telling me now 2029 at the
it's gonna
earliest
last
before this
like
wraps
8 years
up?
for 4 seasons.
Yeah, again, man, like I feel like you're doing everybody a disservice here. All of these
I mean, we don't
writers,
work in the
all of the
industry. We don't
we
really
don't,
know what
right?
goes on,
Maybe I'm
but
just talking
yeah.
out my ass, but I feel like there's so many people that are looking for work. Think about it, writers, people who work in the production and all that stuff. They aren't like actors and actresses, right? They get paid while they're doing jobs. And there's a lot of people in this industry who are needing jobs, money, so they're looking to work. And now there's a lot of other actors and actresses out there that are also needing work. But I feel like we're seeing another detriment in baseless complaining again is we're looking for these major actors and actresses when you can also pull from like find these up and coming people, because we don't really have really big up and coming people right now. A lot of the people that we love are kind of older, that old guard in a way. And so we don't see a lot of these younger folks.
They're
I don't
like
know. I'm
my
just,
age.
oh God, no. Well, I don't know, 2 years in between, but
All
there's
those 80s babies are getting old.
also, I feel like there was a lack of the infected. I really enjoyed when we got to see
Yeah.
infected. I did.
There really
It was a
wasn't,
lot of it.
but they did have some good creepy scenes.
They did, like the stalker when
Yeah.
Ellie fell down there. That was great. And then I thought it was really cool in episode 6 when they go down and the spores are everywhere. I thought that was a really cool scene. Like I would have loved to play more in that and more, the bloated.
And it coming through, like after they got attacked, it was like in that pipe.
Yeah, it was in the pipe.
So,
and
I mean, when are they going to go into all that?
I think they cut out the pipe and they just breezed past it. There's some things that they just breezed past, like such as when Ellie shows up on that island, right? There was no need to kind of do that in the show because the way they breezed past it, it was supposed to be Scar Island that Ellie got washed up on. And so we know that there's a war going on. Isaac is talking to us about this war. The Scar Island, it's where the prophet lady lives for these people. And I feel like they did it a disservice in the show where she washes up on the shore. They go to hang her and then the breaks free. And this is like this, we breeze past Scar Island, which actually would have been a cool own episode on its own right. But again, you're only 7 episodes. So by the time you start to get momentum, it's over again. And so there's some things that they breezed past there. I like the whole stuff with Isaac, the wolves, scars, really interesting. And it plays.
I love that scene with Isaac when we first meet him. That was fantastic.
He throws a grenade in there and kills Josh Peck and everybody.
He kills all those obnoxious little shits.
I know. I saw somebody saying like, when I see a U-Haul truck full of Proud Boys, and then they put over. Not condoning violence on this podcast, but
It was a great scene though, and to see like the development of the one kid that he let survive, and I love that too, that he like took that kid off because that kid didn't seem like a total jerk like the other ones. I really like the whole Ellie immune scene, like when the one girl was like coughing in the spores, and she's like, "It's true, you're immune," and I thought that was actually really cool.
Oh, and I liked how she talked to Dina about how, hey, yeah, this is what happened. I knew that in Salt Lake City that they were going, I know what Joel did and why he did it. And I don't, that whole scene was actually pretty well done as well, as far as her explaining that. And then I thought the moments with Jesse and Ellie are pretty good. How Jesse talks about the group that came through and went down to Mexico and how that's the one girl that he actually loves. They knew for 2 weeks. And so he's not
jealous. With her.
Yeah. Yeah. and he's not, but he has to be this. He's second in line basically to take over Jackson one day, and he had that pressure, and he's a duty to the
I had
people.
a little bit of a martyr thing going on there. I was like, okay, calm down. I like you, but like, chill out.
I liked Jesse a lot, but yeah, you're right. He did have that, and you're like, dude, you could have left. They would have found somebody else. I don't know. It doesn't. It's not like Diego Luna's dying anytime soon. He doesn't. He's not that young or old. He's 50.
Diego Luna.
That's the Tommy. Diego Luna is played by.
I thought Diego Luna was Andor.
No, what?
What's Andor?
Gabriel Luna. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Jesus, you're right. I got confused myself. You're right. Diego Luna is Andor. You're right. Gabriel Luna. My gosh. I knew there was Luna and I got confused for a second. My apologies, everybody.
I did see a clip with they were interviewing Tommy, or what's his name? Gabriel Luna?
Gabriel Luna, yep.
Gabriel Luna. And they're like, so would you ever join your brother from Last of Us back in the Marvel Universe? Because he was Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I would.
And he's like, hell yeah. So that would be really cool, yeah.
First and foremost, you're
Ghost
asking
Rider.
somebody, hey, would you love to come back to the Marvel Universe? Yeah, of course,
I love that they're always so quick to be like, yes, Marvel just has to call me.
Ghost Rider we need, first of all. But yeah, I do. And it's always funny, too, seeing him in interviews because he looks so much younger than they make him look in the show, which is a good thing.
Oh, because they aged him up.
Yeah.
Both of them.
The show does a great job with the costume and production designs. I thought all the costumes, I thought the way the infected look was really well done. There's a lot of really good stuff in the production there, but it's just the pacing. The pacing and the writing is what.
Yeah, the pacing. And I feel like they really did intentionally put the flashbacks later on for all the people who stopped watching because of Pedro Pascal.
Which, like, again, your show could survive.
Put this here, even though it doesn't make snap. We've moved on from that, but we're going to pull you back.
Your show could easily survive.
I love the flashback with Joel's dad. I thought that was great.
Oh, yeah. And that was the swordsman from Marvel? Hawkeye?
Yeah, you told me that, and it blew my freaking mind. I had no idea. Right, I just knew him as the bad guy from Better Call Saul. Yeah. So when I realized that was the same guy, I'm like, kudos to this actor, because I have watched all of Hawkeye, all of Daredevil, I've watched all of Better Call Saul, and had no freaking clue they were the same person because their characters could not be more different. I had no clue. And so when I saw him on there, he's dressed kind of like, not a bad guy, but he's dressed more like casual. And like, Better Call Saul takes place in New Mexico and Mexico. And he's a cop in Texas in this. And the other one, he's got a mustache. I guess that mustache really fooled me. I probably would never be able to guess that Superman was Clark Kent, apparently.
But legit, though, it's funny you mention that, because how often in these shows do we not recognize people because they shave their beard, they shave their mustache, they have a different haircut, and you're like, that's them? And then we're all crapping on... I'm usually
pretty good, too. But he also has an accent. So, like, I didn't recognize the voice either. He has an accent in Hawkeye that's, like, funny.
He's like the Italian or whatever it is.
Maybe that's why, because he's playing an Italian. Is that what he's doing in Hawkeye? And he's clearly Mexican in Better Call Saul.
You're right. Maybe. I don't know. But you're right, though. It is funny. I would be fooled. Anybody who... in the whole black hat Marvel disguise, I guess I'd be fooled by that, too, man. Kudos to them.
Got me. Dude, yeah, that guy's amazing. I can't wait to see him in more. I love, too, when you see these characters and they start to get popular and all these things, and they're, like, older. Like, he's not in his 20s.
No,
and so he's in all these, like, popular things now, and I just love when they get, like... Because he was fantastic in Better Call Saul. He was such... He was so good that when something happened to him, I had thought he was in Breaking Bad because I was so sucked into his character. Like, there's a couple in Better Call Saul that was like, oh, I had to have met them in Breaking Bad. They're just doing so good, and I just love them all immediately. And then I'm like, oh, they're not in Breaking Bad. But.
Guess not. Well, that's another thing. Is you have so many good actors in this show that I wish the writing, again, would have brought more out from them.
Oh, Catherine O'Hara, and then Eugene. Yeah. Eugene's in Sopranos.
Yeah. I didn't recognize him at first either until you guys had mentioned that. And I was, that is him. The cop guy from Bad Boys and everything. I didn't recognize him at first.
I recognized him immediately. I hate him in Sopranos, but that means he did a good job.
Yeah,
he's always a creepy little guy, I feel like.
He has that face. I don't know. Small, bald, white guy. I don't know. I feel like there's something creepy about them. Maybe. I don't know.
That was an interesting thing because it's like, I understand why Ellie was mad at him, but I didn't think she was to appropriate degree mad at him because he did give him a peaceful death and he did what he needed to do to protect the community and follow the rules.
To save 100 kind of deal, right? Like...
Yeah, I feel like that was too big of a risk to bring him back. But taking him to the lake, talking him through it, helping him see his wife. But then Ellie just friggin' threw him right under the bus. But I mean, she did it because she saw
Well, she's
him
young and
lying.
she saw him lying. I get that, but again, I don't fault Joel for doing that. I would have
No.
honestly, man. I don't want to risk this sanctuary that we have and all these people and young people and old people and just this return to normalcy that we kind of have in this new world. I'm not
Now they're
risking that
risking
for
all
one
that.
guy. I'm sorry, dude. Like, no.
But now they're risking it going and attacking the wolves. The wolves know where their community is.
Yeah, I mean they most certainly are, but that's a whole other thing. Ellie, girl, we could have not been, but it is what it is. 'Cause I just wonder who's taking care of Eugene's pot farm now. Somebody needs to make sure that the pot's all
Didn't
good,
they
man.
go in the store or whatever? Is it
Yeah,
nobody?
it was Jesse. Nobody was. It was Jesse and Ellie. They were in there, and nobody, because it was during the Yellowstone storm, which was building up to when Pedro gets stab. Yeah,
I also felt like his death wasn't like momentous. When a main character dies, like I was expecting him to still get up. I mean, he's on the floor with the friggin' thing sticking out of his neck, and I'm like,
honestly, I'm
can't
cool
die.
with
He's
that
gonna get
because
up.
not every death is going to have like that. It was just showed that he was just a regular person, and a show could have survived very well moving forward with if they had played into Tommy and Ellie's rage a bit more. I feel like that would have been really captivating because you're going to lose some of your audience that's there for Pedro, and with really good writing, you could easily capture these people with a really captive story. But the way that the pacing was, I feel, is why a lot of people also fell off, because I feel like more people fell off who are fans of the franchise and the game because of the way that the story and the fundamental things that they changed versus the fans that fell off because Pedro's dead. Like there's more people that fell off for like my reasonings. I'm still through it. I'm going to see this whole way through, but people mad about some of the pacings and writing versus those who are like Tabby, who fell off because they love Pedro and now Pedro's dead.
Maybe when we rewatch it next time, you should watch like episode 1 and then watch the flashback.
I do
episode,
wonder if,
and then watch Pedro die.
I'm curious to see if this is going to be, I am very curious if this is going to be better upon binging. Maybe this is a better binged 7 episodes. So when we revisit before season 3, I'm curious to see like if we feel the same.
It might be better too watching 2 into 3 and not having that horrific ending.
Exactly. Like if we go back and we watch season 2 right before season 3, and then so I'm curious upon rewatch. I feel like there's some rewatchability there. Am I going to rush to do it right now? No, because
no, hell no.
You tell me when season 3 is premiering, and I will get out there and I will watch season 2 again for season 3 and see how it stacks up. But I'm not in a rush. There's so many things out there right now that we have coming down the pipe that I'm not, in this day and age where there's so much out there at the moment, I'm not in a rush to rewatch this at the moment.
I know. I did start watching Doctor Who, and there's some good episodes.
How are you liking Doctor? I haven't seen any of the new season of Doctor Who, but I have heard some rumors about
3
Doctor
episodes. Who. And yeah, they're pulling in oh my gosh, there was one episode that it goes back to a David Tennant episode.
Of course it does.
Like he references, he's like, I've been here before, and then he puts it together, and I was like, oh, I remember that very creepy David Tennant episode with Dr. Donna. Well, she's not Dr. Donna then, but no, I'm really liking that. So yeah, I'm going to try to finish that. It's just, there's a lot of good stuff.
I've heard rumors that Rose is going to be the new Doctor if Nakuti is done with playing the Doctor.
Rose?
Yes. I have heard the rumor going around right now is that she would become the Doctor. I don't know how I feel about that either, but again, rumors. We know how rumors are. It's the rumor mill, folks. I'm curious if that does come out. Like Billie Piper would become the Doctor. I don't know how that would work, but then again, they always seem to come back to David Tennant when things are looking not as up in the Doctor. Which I thought Ncuti was a great Doctor. I just haven't had time to watch his episodes yet.
No, there's a couple and there was one that took place in 1950s Miami, and
wow,
they're doing. I'm enjoying this season. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we'll have to talk about it once the season's over. I'll probably get to watch. I'll probably binge it so we can talk about it. But do you have any final thoughts on The Last of Us season 2 before we wrap it up?
I do wonder with the whole rage thing, if Tommy now seeing Jesse get killed, maybe that will trigger some fire into this rage since he wasn't there when Joel was killed. So I do still have hope for the show. I did still enjoy it. Season 1 was just so good that it was I guess it's hard to follow that act, and I really, really hated that they ended on that bang.
No, I agree.
Then see you later. So yeah, it's worth watching. Didn't love it.
Watch it, make your own opinions again with everything else. Just because I thought it was decent. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. It's worth watching. Obviously, if you've made it this far, you're hopefully have watched it. But if you haven't and you just love to get into spoilers, dude, go watch it and make your own opinion. Seriously. And then next week, actually, we're going to be diving in now. Is going to start our lead into Superman. So we're going to be
summer.
Yes, we are going to be watching Christopher Reeve's Superman. We're going to watch Brandon Routh's Superman, Henry Cavill's Man of Steel, and then we're going to talk about Superman comics. We're going to talk about the Superman animated shows, or not even just animated shows, the shows period.
Smallville, Superman, Lois.
Those are all not in one episode. We're going to be breaking it up leading into Superman, which will culminate in our Superman review. And then after that, we'll do some Fantastic Four.
And some Jaws 4.
And some Jaws.
Oh, that'll be the week of 4s. Look at that.
Yes, that takes us through July.
We're also doing Super Summer because we will be trying to catch up on Supernatural because September 13th is the 20th anniversary. So hopefully by then we've gone through all 15 seasons and we can just have a fun conversation about the show as a whole.
Yes, if you have happened to join us from any of our supernatural panels or anything like that, yes, we've fallen off the wagon a bit. However, last week we talked to Jeremy Adams. We're half the episode. We talked about him writing Scooby Natural, Last Call, Last Holiday, and now probably starting after this week, we are going to be releasing a Supernatural episode as much as we can because we're on season 11, halfway through season 11, recapping, reviewing. And so we're going to be going through that through the summer to get us ready for the 20th anniversary. So yes, we are bringing back Supernatural. Yes. We got Superman,
Next
everything.
Week will be Christopher Reeves.
Yes. Haven't really seen that movie since I was a kid, so I can't.
I haven't either. I'm excited to rewatch it.
See how it goes, man. But thanks everybody for hanging out. One last time, patreon.com/HopsGeekNews if you want to support the show. And HopsGeek News on any social media platform, all of that good stuff. Go subscribe on YouTube, drop some comments, drop some reviews. Hit that notification button so you don't miss an episode. We release episodes every week. And until next time, thanks for hanging out.